Hello, beautiful, curious, and creatives. Welcome. Today is Monday, and I want to make something. And I would like to continue to make some faux vellum paper and share the process with you in case you are interested in trying something like this. I have 3 of the ones that I've made in the past here that I just want to share with you. The process is relatively simple. I love the results. I want to use these papers just to add some interest. One of the things that I do like about this is that it has some texture, which is part of the wax residue or buildup on the paper. It may also be because of the way I did it and the tools that I'm using. I am sure that different tools will yield different results. So I'm just going to show you what I've done. If you have different tools that you can use, you may get slightly different results, of course. The top part of the paper, as you can see, gave me, again, because of what I used and how I used it, some wax buildup or residue. I will use it like this, but I'm just, full disclosure and transparency. I just want you to know that, how I did it gave me these results. So this is the site that I want to use. This is a 1970 something Women's Day magazine paper. And I love how grungy it looks. The wax is not spread out evenly on purpose because I wanted this type of result. So I'm sharing this one with you. This is an 1840 something dictionary page. This is the side that I am going to use, which you can see it's a little smoother, though you can see that I did use wax. This side has a little bit more wax buildup or residue. Again, I don't mind it. I'm just letting you know what I got, okay? And I love how it feels. I love the translucency. It's maybe transparency. I don't know. I'll bring it up a little closer so you can see that you can see this side as well as the other side, right? When you hold it up close. And I love that. That's just beautiful background paper or collage paper. And I have an idea of what I want to use these for, and I will be sharing that with you in other videos further down the road. So notice how this one has a more even finish. This is a 19 something, I don't know, ledger paper. And this is the side that I am going to use. It is written on. As time has gone by, there have been little blotches on it. I am perfectly fine with that. It adds character to my substrate, my paper, and I love it. So again, it has that transparency. This is the back side, and it has wax residue. The back side of how I'm going to use it is actually the top part of the paper, and I'll explain this. I used, I want to say, a cutting board from Dollar Tree. I think it comes in packs of 2. I have several that I purchased a while ago. I haven't made a trip to the Dollar Tree in a while, so I don't know if they have them, but the point is that they're, they're inexpensive, heat resistant, holds up my wax residue, and I wanted to add another layer of something, so I'm using a cutting mat, and this happens to be an old Martha Stewart cutting mat that's, well loved and used, and it was fine. Even though I could use my glass mat, I just decided to give it a little layer because the tool that I use does get hot. And that is this tool that I purchased on Amazon. As you can see, it's off. It's simple enough, just to go over the hot parts, the parts that I want to melt the wax on, rather. It does get very hot. As you can see, it is, it is well loved. It does come with 2 of these tips. the iron, you know, flat tips, and it is temperature regulated here. I usually turn it on and it goes on to 350, but I think it's Celsius. I don't know. I don't fiddle around with that. I turn it on and off. This is the only thing that I've used this for. So it serves the purpose. It was relatively inexpensive, maybe $20, I want to say. And it comes with this little stand. This reminds me of those old fashioned coils that you used to use for mosquitoes. I don't know. I grew up in Puerto Rico, so we always had them, and they kind of burn themselves, and you put them in some little thing like this. You open it, you bend it up, and when this is hot and you need to move your paper, it rests on it just fine. So I say it was a good enough buy for the money. I am using a grater that I also purchased on Amazon a while back. Relatively inexpensive. I've been using tapers. This is the one that I'm working with right now. Okay. So today I would like to use, oh, and I also need wax paper. That's a good enough size. That covers the sheet that I am going to be working on, but I do move the sheet as I go along. That's it. Those are my supplies, plus my heat tool. I am going to turn the heat tool on so it warms up, and see, it just goes through 350 automatically and it starts warming up. So I'm going to put this on the side on the little stand, and I'm going to mark my paper or just fold it, because I want to know that this is the side that I want to use on top, because this side, the bottom, will get some wax build up, and I don't want to put my iron on the wax. So this is just my process. This will remind me that this is the top part of my paper. And so I want to start. So again, this is a piece of paper. I don't even know if I mentioned that. A piece of paper from a publication called The Anglo-American. And it is from December 6th, 1845. I know, I can't believe I'm like ruining this paper. It is beautiful to the touch. I don't know how it's going to absorb the wax. It almost feels like linen. It's absolutely beautiful to touch. And I want to say that I would like, on the side that I use, to show the year, right? So, because this is the side that I will use in my project later on, further down the road, I am going to turn this over, and I am going to apply my wax on this side. So I am going to melt the wax on this side. I just want to show you that the heat tool is, I don't know if you see the smoke. It's ready, and I am going to just grate some wax on here. I am going to start. I do this in sections only because, you know, I want to make sure that I get everything and it's not overwhelming, and I can pay attention to what I'm doing. So when I work on these vintage papers, I like to take my time and get even coverage, and that's what I am going to aim for today. So piece by piece, again, I have my marker here, that this is the top. I see that I'm getting some glare from the window behind me right here, so give me 1 minute. Let me just turn up my blinds. And I will put this here so I don't slide the paper. That's the candle, and I am going to start melting my wax. And pretty much this is the process. I want to take my time doing this because, again, I want even coverage. And I have to be honest with you, I really enjoy this process. I have done this when I'm not really sure what I want to work on. I have a daily practice of coming to my studio to work on something, whether it's, you know, punching tabs, rearranging something, fussy cutting, printing. I make it a point to come up here every day. And this is something that I have so enjoyed doing because I get something, right? I am able to make something, but the result is so enjoyable. So enjoyable to touch, to work with, and the process is even more enjoyable, you know. So that's one of the reasons why I like to take my time with this. And so I am going to go where I graded the wax. I am not going to have even coverage my first time, but I can always go back. And sometimes I go back 2 and 3 times. I think it all depends also on how your substrate, which is, you know, your paper, in this case, the vintage paper that I'm using, absorbs the wax. So you may have, you know, quick results, a lot better coverage right away, and some, you know, you may need to go back and work it a little better. But that's part of the enjoyment, to me anyway, you know, just seeing how different papers react to the process of melting the wax on them. Okay. And when you know, and you'll see this again, when you melt the wax, you can go over it again, because as it heats up, it will spread. That spot is a perfect example that I just worked on. Let's see if we can do this one here and move, you know, move it a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom you in some. Okay. Let's see if we can there we go. Okay, let's see if we can work on this one also. There we go. I find this to be almost therapeutic. And to me, the joy is in the transformation of this beautiful vintage paper into a more beautiful piece of paper that I will work with. So So I'm going to continue to see if I can spread what I have. And when I feel that there is no more, wax shavings to melt, I'm going to put my heating tool on the stand. I'm going to take a peek. I'm just rolling back my wax paper, and I see the spots that I can still cover. So I will go again with this and just drop more wax shavings on there. If you prefer to cut your wax, of course you can do that. This is just how I prefer to do it. You work it the way that's comfortable for you. I have put more wax, and you're still getting a little bit of that glare. I apologize. More wax on the parts that don't have any, and I will cover it again and go back with my heat tool. And I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take my time melting this wax, making sure that everything I want covered is covered. And repeating the process, checking it if I miss some spots, adding more wax shavings, candle shavings, and melting them again until my page is covered to my satisfaction. I think I am going to work on the bottom part of my paper now. These pieces that are left behind like this, I put in this little container here, and then eventually I'll use them. If you have a mini iron or a regular iron that you want to use for this process, that too will work. I've never tried it with either because I use my mini irons that I have here in the studio to iron ribbons and fabric, and I just didn't want, it's inevitable that you get a little bit of wax on your tool, on your iron. So I just didn't, I didn't want to mix them like that. But if you have one and you want to try it with that, that works also, I am certain. An iron is an iron, so. And this is what I was talking to you about in the beginning about the residue, because I do use a small tool, and you know, as I move it around, I am not going to be able to cover a huge surface with the heat. So it's inevitable that there will be, you know, bits and pieces that that accumulate and form, you know, that waxy residue. So it looks like I just have my edges to do. I'm going to peel this off completely because I want to take a, you know, a big picture view. And I have edges here. I may have some parts here. I see some, you know, some shavings there that I want to melt. And over here. So I am going to be moving my paper around to do that. I'm going to collect whatever shavings I have that have, you know, spilled over. I'm going to use them again on my paper so they don't go to waste. I will put some here on the edges. And because you know, I don't like to waste any type of supplies. And then I'm going to, you know, work up here in the other areas that I see that are dry, and then I will lift the paper and we'll take a look at the front when I'm done with that. Notice that I'm not going to get to the edge here to drop my shavings here, but I'm going to do them probably in this area, and then with the heat tool just manipulate the melted wax to the edge. And the same in this area. I'm not getting, you know, to the very edge, but I'm just getting as close as I can, and I will manipulate the melted wax to reach the edge. I think my paper is pretty much covered. So I want to peel it off the mat. I see spots here where, you know, it may need a little more wax, but I want to take a look here with you. And this is what the front of the paper looks like. So the front has pretty even coverage. Again, it's the same spots that we see in the back. So I am going to remedy those by adding a little more of the wax shavings, heating it up, and I think we'll be ready to go. This is the back of our paper where we applied the wax. This is the front of the paper that I will be using, where the year is legible. And look at how beautiful it is. Look at how beautiful it sounds. It has great texture. I see the shininess of the wax. I don't mind that. When it bends, it looks just like vellum. You see that crack here? Right there. And I love it. I enjoy the process. I can take my time. It's very satisfying. I love the results. It works great on new paper, vintage paper. It is a beautiful layer to add, and I think it's so worth the time. You can, get it done with things that you very likely have already, which is a plus. You have paper. I am sure you have some old candle, maybe even scented, or, laying around. These, I believe I got at Dollar Tree, so, or a similar type of store. I got them specifically for melting here in the studio, so I'm sure they were relatively inexpensive. You can use your iron, your mini iron, your heat press. Hopefully you have some wax paper, and if you don't have a grater that that you can use, you can cut the pieces, with a knife, with a razor. Your utility knife is also good for that. And play around. I hope you are inspired. I hope you are well. I have missed being here with you guys, and it is my intention to start posting more content. I love you so much. It was great to spend some time with you, and as always, I am so grateful that you took the time to be here with me today, and I hope to see you again next time. I hope that you are safe and healthy and enjoying beautiful days wherever you may be. And of course, getting some creative time in. And I hope you are thriving and know that you are so loved. Until the next time, thanks so much.